just like that, we are back, and we got a great set to kind of continue on with our day here in the PPC. Dolson still, Kresnik, though, joins me. And Krez, this is a battle of the undefeateds over in Brazil. A very what could be contested one, though what we've seen from Parallax in the past is they kind of punch down at everyone else, but this is, I think, a good statement game from Ignite. They're 3-0-8, so one map dropped from Ignite, 3-0-9 for Parallax. Should be a fun one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, seeing two people like this is the first team that we think maybe can really take it to Parallax. We thought that might have been in Control last phase, and Control still look good. They don't necessarily look like they've been underperforming significantly, but this is an Ignite that seems to be on fire, no pun intended, and they're going to want to keep that kind of moving forward as they play against Parallax here. I do have the map bans, which I will bring up as quickly as possible. Ignite, who are going to be first pick on this first map, which is Jaguar Fall, Splitstone Quarry. Sorry, Jaguar Falls is actually one of the maps they banned. They banned Jaguar and they banned Bright Marsh. So both maps kind of taken, both the close flat maps taken out. Clearly Ignite don't want to deal with that. And Bazaar and Warder's Gate removed by Parallax. Some of the more wide, unique maps. I love Bazaar. And every time I say that, people get so mad at me. I say I love Bazaar and I don't like Serpent Beach, and I literally feel like I have just lit a fire and ran away.
You've ignited something and left, right?
See, it's really that easy, Dave.
It's contagious, Krez. You got to stop it with these. What do you say? You said Splitstone map number 1, I believe,
Splitstone
here,
is map number 1.
Between Ignite and Parallax. So in our previous set, we saw Splitstone, and we saw the Kinessa Strix kind of sniper battle there. Strix has kind of been that favorite, and then if you need, a sniper to contest, Kinessa's been in there, though we have seen some back and forth on that one a little bit as well. Do you imagine Brazil as a region, another area that could pick up this Strix, pick up this Kinessa for a little long-range dueling?
I mean, for sure. I mean, we always joked about Mitau being a Strix one-trick on Parallax, so I definitely would not be surprised to see more of that coming in here for them, considering how he's looked on that before. Plus, it's just a pretty standard pick. Here's what I expect to see. We're going to see more Barrack. I'm going to continue to be confused. It's going to still somehow win because people are going to just miss shooting it, and we're going to see a lot of Shaolin either first picked or banned. Right,
that's true. Yeah, that kind of took me by surprise yesterday when we were doing the PPC. Lots of Shaolin bans almost all day. So maybe in Brazil that continues to be true here. We'll have to see, though. Splitstone Quarry, traditionally, maybe you've seen some Shaolin on this map. Definitely you can get those long-range bits of confirmable damage there, and Kresnik, wouldn't you guess it, he's going to get taken away first overall here. So no surprise there, but I think the interesting factor, maybe just expect to see Shaolin banned out, but it's what are you letting through as a result as compared to other regions. The off-tank bans were heavy over in EU, so maybe that opens up an off-tank for one of the two teams. Maybe that opens up a Victor or a Vivian or something of the like. It's always what are you giving up to ban out that very strong pick here. Lots still around. Corvus gets taken out. I mean, you look at potentially Genos, Vivian. I mean, lots to be looked at here in Brazil.
If you're in EU right now, if this is drafting in EU, I mean, first pick is foaming at the mouth. They're so excited. They have ROM open. They have Ash is gone, but they have Ruckus. They have Genos. They have all these good backlines. I would expect a pocket support to go here, just judging by how metas tend to be kind of angled here in Brazil, but actually it's going to be Buck. So another character that kind of was being picked only in Brazil as a last phase, still obviously kind of maintaining its priority. To me, I'm looking at a target towards Parallax. This is like Ignite prepared to me, because they banned Shaolin from Espexi, they banned Strix from Mitau, they pick this Buck. First rotation, not targeted anywhere, but it's good to slow down the aggression that Parallax are going to want to come into this with.
Yeah, Buck, very good at slowing down and then kind of counter-punching back if you can extend yourself forward into an area that allows you to do so. Androxus continues to be a very popular pick pretty much across all of the regions. The Accursed Arm, great for some splash damage, melt down one of those priority targets if you're able to find one. Genos as well, I think strong here for Parallax as well. You toss that Luminary up on the Andros, he flanks, and you're going to be sitting pretty. Fernando Mave, though, how about that for an answer for Ignite?
I love the Immortal for in terms of like stringing out fights. I think to me he's my preferred point tank with the Genos in terms of having a lot of sustainability and not really necessarily needing a pocket healer to stay alive. But Parallax, I mean, we've seen them prioritize the Sparrow before. It's probably going to get paired with the Genos, and the damage can help pierce through this shield if that's what they need. Parallax picking up Leon, so double hit scan. Leon, I think, actually underrated in the other regions, in my opinion. We've seen it do well, but I think paired with the pocket supports in particular, when 2 out of her 3 abilities get boosted by that, when most characters don't, I think she's kind of just undervalued right now when you manage to get one of them through the ban phase.
Yeah, what we saw her in set 1 of today, and though didn't get the win, was able to outpour a very good amount of damage throughout that game, only 5 or so thousand behind the Victor, who's been very, very popular through and through here. Barrack, as you point out, is going to get picked up here. It's often paired with that Luminary, with that Genos, provides kind of that overwhelming damage to counter out. Usually we see it kind of against the Inara on the point here. Won't be this time around. Going to be Fernando down there on the point, but then triple DPS for Ignite. It seems to be fitting that they got a Furia there. Pop that Inflame and roll yourself forward here. You pointed out, Krez, no Inara.
Unpicked, unbanned. That's just wow. Crazy to me, honestly. She really brings a lot to the team, but I know some teams kind of go past her. They say, oh, look, we want a tank that can do more, but I feel like Inara does more than Nando. Nando lives, Nando can use his ultimate, but Inara outputs a lot of damage. There have been some games where you can see Inara kind of keeping in tow with her damage dealers if she has a good tank to trade into, but they go this Nando because they value that pocket from the shield and that ultimate higher than that crazy sustainability Inara can give you.
That's interesting to say the least, but Ignite obviously come into this one with a bit of a strategy on their side. Remember, this one, undefeated matchup over in Brazil. Ignite versus Parallax. Game number 1 going to be taking place on Splitstone Quarry. Triple DPS for maybe you call them the challengers here. I don't know if maybe that's giving them the right amount of respect. They're 3-0, challenging the kind of legacy that Parallax have already established in the PPC over in Brazil. I'm very excited, admittedly, Krez, to kind of watch this Genos-Leon pairing match up against that Victor. I think it'll be fun to follow along with.
Yeah, for sure. I think going to be interesting to see how it trades into it. It's also depending if it goes on the Eminence or not. And actually, we get to jump right back out here to us with an early game pause. I think it can win that fight. Leon is actually kind of on some other maps a counter pick to the Victor. You actually see that Leon being played on like Frog Isle. You just run that with the Eminence, burst down the Victor for half of his HP. Suddenly you have this massive kind of backline advantage that you can utilize to just dominate that map where backlines are so strong. And backlines are almost just as strong on this map here as we do get back into game. Now that I've also set you up properly, thanks to that pause that we had.
Oh, no problem, Krez. No problem at all. You know, I'm very interested to watch the pace that Ignite bring into this game here. Usually with these Furia comps, you know, you're kind of holding your own, you're fighting around these flanks, and then that Inflame is the moment where you overwhelm your opponent. So I wonder if that pacing will come out to play here. Kron's, of course, going to be taking up point tanking duties. He'll be trading into this Fernando. My God. Look at the amount of damage Ornskeen's already taken. Has to dash his way out of the back line of Bleacher side here, but unable to fight into that Fernando just yet. So the Fernando's going to have to, or the Fernando rather is going to build up 24%, dashes away just a little bit there towards the end. Kind of the calm before the storm. Both teams trading out a little bit of damage. Mitau down to about a third of his HP before he receives a little bit of healing. Ornskeen choosing his moment, misses a few important daggers there. That might have taken Mitau out of the fight entirely, but instead, Parallax still at full strength, but so are Ignite with 36%.
Yeah, Ornskeen just so close on this. We've seen Ornskeen be so hot and cold on these flankers, and he's got to be running hot if they want to be able to beat Parallax. Megaton knocking him in. Look at this double backline, too, dropping to the low ground to get this area controlled, but it's such a stalemate. But Nando, better sustain. He will get the better of it, but finally, extra damage comes in, and they follow up on Ornskeen.
There's first blood. Mitau drops down the Mabe. Finally, Deja Vu off to the side. 45%. Parallax just now surpassing Ignite. As far as point capture goes, held relatively in check are both Dintic and Deja Vu. They've been going toe-to-toe with one another throughout the early part of this game. We see a lot of this. Dintic maybe having to dash away, and the restore from Deja Vu keeps him in the engagement. Time to retake, says Ignite, but unfortunately Ornstein goes down a second time, so does Penny. No more point tank for Ignite Gaming. Parallax bide their time, overwhelm Ignite to take point number 1.
I can see aspects of getting aggressive. Actually forces out the Inflame with his Enlightenment. Maybe they overstepped with Deja Vu cleaning them up. But they have that shield to back up to the hard disengage. But if Buckwild's coming in, Ignite wants more.
And it's Deja Vu driving the bus here for Ignite Gaming. Luckily for Parallax rather, the red side is gonna back themselves off. So you win the mid fight, but now you've got this line to break where Ignite Gaming have a very clear-cut defensive strategy where they can just send the Victor up onto the high ground, and Midtown is gonna have a very difficult time trading into that Victor, as consistent as that can be. Maybe requires some ultimates to get traded out through time and space. Will dislodge from the high ground, and look at this, the gas pedal is pressed down. Spexy gets rid of Ornstein rather. Maybe the third or so time this game. Zeeds will get the kill as well. Barrage off to the side, dodged out for the most part. One shot down, got him mid-air there. Kubi stays alive and gets the kill. An overextension from Parallax. Ignite holds strong.
I was gonna say, I think this double backline comp actually is pretty decent at taking this area from them. Just get them on that far right side, you can shred down this Victor, not let him really stay there as long as they want. And they have the aggression to keep chasing though on Ignite afterwards once that push kind of fails. Could catch out Penny here with that, but no, they need to play their backline comp, I think. Does Parallax. Wait till they push forward to try to spam down on the cart once you get your Barrack on there. And then have this Leon and this Cassie punish anyone peeking over the side. If you can get that early damage, force them back, then you take a lot of ground that you wouldn't take otherwise without these kind of strong damage dealers with you. But they have some verticality too, and Dintic's abusing that. Already took this high left side with Aspexy actually crossing as well. So a lot of ground already taken by them. They just need to get some chip damage to win some more.
Right. Ignite Gaming, though, able to stay alive. Ornstein gets the heal from his Furia. Mitau on the low ground here. Kubi's sprints in. Mitau challenges him on it and wins that engagement. 5 versus 4, but immediately evened out by Deja Vu. But then the tug of war goes right back towards Parallax with the kill onto that Buck. Aspexia double kill here. Penny's going to throw up the shield, back himself off into the corner. There is an Immortal waiting. Dintic's able to get the kill. Ignite. 5 ultimates ready to go, but only 1 member left alive defending. Now 2 as Deja Vu will respawn. 5 seconds left. Overtime will be on here. Parallax obviously preferring to get this one done without the ultimates on their side. Save those for the next mid-fight. So difficult to break through Ignite. Inflame used here. Barrage brought out. Defensive stand determined by Ignite here. Kubis gets the kill down onto Midtown. Can Parallax find anything to trade out? Not for the moment, as Spexy is gone as well. And suddenly, Ignite Gaming able to overwhelm, grab point number 1.
They did spend the Accursed Arm and the Enlightenment on the side of Parallax, but Ignite spent Inflame as well, which I think is really crucial to what they want to be doing. Having that kind of aggression with the double flanker back to the Inflame to give them that damage boost and that speed boost, I think really important for them, kind of lacking that here as they move forward with this. But I like the comp, what it can do potentially on these mids, the fact that they have the chance to have that verticality. They have the Maven the Buck. If they can actually dislodge a Spexy from that high ground, they have the map effectively completely theirs. Kubi's locks them off from one side, Maven Buck are behind them, keeping them in Quarry, and if Barrack can't block every angle with his shield, he's completely isolated. There's nowhere else he can really hide.
That's right. Remember, a lot of what gave Parallax an advantage was kind of out of their hands. Ornstein just missed a few important daggers on Mitau. That kind of mitigated the impact of this Mave. There's Deja Vu already very low here as Dintic will make his way down to the low ground. 50% HP for Deja Vu, so waddle his way down towards the lava side. Dintic dodges out the stun nicely there, but Ignite, they're doing exactly what they did in mid-fight number 1. No kills, lots of just kind of poking and prodding back and forth, and Ignite this entire time building up that point capture, but there's the Void Grip. Deja Vu, too aggressive, and Dintic will pick up the kill.
Not being able to hit those shots again, just crucial, missing the final thing that would have potentially saved them. Dintic was so low, didn't have the Genos heal there at the last second. Now Parallax retake ground, they're moving forward, they're willing to get this ground here. Actually taking the space, Barrack on the low ground, no one up top, so some space could just get ran through by Ornstein as they are right now, but Dintic is there with the Accursed Arm ready, and that's a lot of burst damage for them to fight through.
Dintic down to the low ground, interesting Accursed Arm here. Forces out the Immortal. So maybe a win there for Parallax. 90% Ignite Gaming fighting back in. Midnight drapes over. Midtown finds the kill onto Deja Vu, though, through time and space. Flies out, but does not catch any fish here. Ornstein, no execute. Midtown, double kill. Back goes Kubi. He's going to throw out the grenade. Penny walks his way in, but no Immortal to save his life. Parallax win mid-fight number 2.
Off the back of, I think, I'm surprised they got in, but the Midnight, such a powerful ultimate. I can actually check the items and see not a lot of resilience up on the side of Parallax, so it's going to last the maximum duration the whole time. And because of the timing of how forward they were as that point got capped, they're now stuck kind of back here, not able to go forward, but Dintic loses a duel on the low ground, and that's going to let them walk back in with Ornstein taking this right side for free.
I mean, it has just been so hot and cold from the flanks from Ignite so far this game, where there's a streak of time where Deja Vu can't get anything done, and then suddenly the Buck starts to find massive amounts of impact, lots of kills and damage. Ornstein, much the same, I'd argue, where there's moments where the Mave's just getting too mitigated, and then we see a moment where he kind of turns this around, and there's kind of this interesting ebb and flow, I think, Kresnik, that we've seen develop in these mid-fights.
Yeah, you'd think that the slow-paced game that they're doing could potentially help them out over time. With the Furia, they have the better sustained healer. The Genos, maybe they get worn down over time, but when they actually make their move, when they're like, all right, we got him low, finally we wore through the sustain, the Feast or Famine gauge goes to Famine and then breaks. They're just missing everything they need when they actually go in to follow up on these kills. And that's it. When you have a flanker and you make your move and you miss in that one moment, that's why it's risky to play these high mobility characters, these high skill cap characters. And it's tough because Ignite have looked so good in a lot of their other matchups. Maybe it's just the Parallax factor, right? They're playing against this team that was practically impossible to beat last phase, and now they still kind of look like a juggernaut.
That's right. Still 3-0 with all of those wins being 3-0s for Parallax up to this point. Far from over, though, this set, but could be a lot closer depending on how these fights go. Deja Vu will go down. Dome shield for Kronz off to the side. Interesting placement there. Nobody from Ignite really in range of that one. Ornstein forced back. Nice knockback and shot down from a Spexy. The Void Grip up from Penny, or from Outlander rather, will get the kill onto Penny. Now the cart rounding maybe its final turn before heading home.
Both flankers are on the side, and this is a great setup, I think, to fight them. And look at this, Kronz here, no dome shield because he spent it earlier, but they don't stay split. They have to rotate because of Midtown coming to peel, and they just wipe both flankers off the map.
That's a double for Dintic, and Midtown will make it an even 3 for Parallax Gaming. Seeds is gonna just sort of float down. A double kill for Midtown, and that's all she wrote for this one. Parallax overwhelmed Ignite Gaming, and with maybe a little bit of contest, they're gonna knock this one through. Chance to win the game on this mid.
I liked the idea, I think, from Parallax with from Ignite, the way they had both their flankers setting up on the side to collapse as they went in. But Kron said, all right, well, I'll just fight you out of there. If Midtown hadn't rotated to peel for him, they actually could have just killed Kronz right then and there. They had him split on one side of the shield, but Midtown rotating in forces them both to the one side, and then Barak is like, all right, well, his low health doesn't matter when you have to also burn through his shield. So I think just great team play by Parallax there near the end of that fight, which will put them to a potential game point here on Splitstone Quarry. And their mids have been good. They've been playing their Genos sustain well. The fact is the health bars look the same, even though Genos generally has a much lower healing output than a Furia does.
That's right. Well, what we've expected to see and have seen, a bit of a slower burn here. Just poking down. Ignite Gaming immediately to the point, gathering a little bit of percentage. The duel between Midtown and Ornstein continues, but this time Deja Vu loses the duel on the right-hand side almost immediately to Dintic, and that's going to allow Parallax to push themselves forward here. Ornstein shot down by Midtown. Big opening kills from Parallax as they regain control.
And they have their back lines already set up. They didn't get a forward zone, so Ignite have a chance to refight this. You can see Kubi's already in position to help his team move forward. And they have some space now. They're going to Inflame to go in. They combine it with a Buck Wild, but it looks like it's on nobody just to chip away Kronz, who's already hiding. And Ignite, low value from one ultimate, but they find a pick.
Finally, Midtown gets taken care of. 1 streak out of 4 eliminated. Parallax backpedal away just a little bit. It is full-on fast cap for Ignite Gaming here. So Parallax are going to have to move in maybe a little bit sooner than they were expecting to, or need to, rather. Through time and space could be a big difference maker here. Scout used. Also an Enlightenment. That's an Immortal forced out early from Penny and waiting on the other side. Set through time and space. The shield does not stay alive long enough. Spexy will get rid of the tank for Ignite. Enlightenment finds the double. Spexy firing on all cylinders here. Parallax overwhelm Ignite Gaming. Hornskeen, maybe a saving grace here. 90% gonna have to dash in, find the contest. But the Void Grip keeps him out of range, and Parallax take game 1.
Tough there at the very end. I mean, he went in with no cooldowns. He only had Pounce. If that Pounce doesn't touch, he literally has no other option. It's just over. And they ends up keeping Parallax in control with how things happen. Spexy has been such a star, I think, for Parallax. I thought he was the best player on Carnage last phase, and they just said, all right, well, we lost FRZ, so let's just get who is probably the next best player in Brazil onto our team. Spexy is just looking comfortable on every single champion I see him put on.
And you know, this is, I think, a great temperature check, not only for Ignite, see how they measure up, but for Parallax as well. You know, they were able to overwhelm basically everyone they faced in Brazil in Phase 1. And this is their toughest task yet. The other undefeated team so far in this region. And a 4-1 on Splitstone Quarry, I mean, kind of hard to argue with the momentum that we've seen built. There was, one defense for Ignite that got them that 1 point, but then it's capture and then push and the game's and then another capture and the game's just sort of over from that point on. So it's not that Ignite can't hang, but at least for map number 1, the kind of flanks, I would argue, had a little bit more consistent of a time. The direct damage backlines as well were able to hit their mark a little bit better, and that gave Parallax a big win.
And look at this damage taken for their teams. I get that just you have a Barrack versus a Fernando. Barrack took less damage than his team's Cassie did.
Yeah.
That is, I know damage taken is never a stat we go on, but he took half the damage that Penny did with a lower health shield.
Right.
So that to me screams they were just focusing Penny on the fight. They just shot at Penny during that and really forced him off a lot. You can see the objective time also much higher and the shielding about even across the board for them. But damage-wise, I think kind of low coming out of this Maeve. But, I mean, Chat was talking about it, and I'll agree with them. It's a hard game for a Maeve. I mean, Genos boosted, Cassie, Leon, and Droxus. You have no real intangibility. You're kind of stuck out a lot of the time, and that 5 and 10, I think, echoes that.
I agree. And, you know, I think maybe that kind of caters to a few of the points we were making where there are moments when it seemed like Ornskeen and Deja Vu were kind of hitting that mark on the opposite flanks on either side of the map, but on a consistent basis, maybe not quite there. You know, maybe a few missed daggers here or there, but we're really nitpicking, and I kind of agree with that point where overall it's just a tough game to fight into. So I think at that rate, you know, Parallax have to be very happy about the draft they've got. They've got to be happy with how that their DPS, their backliners played there in game number 1. Their point tank as well was able to sustain right on through it. I don't know if that's one, though, Krezi. You kind of look at picks and bans for game 1. I don't know if that's one where you can say necessarily that Ignite were just out-drafted. Maybe they were outplayed. I mean, they had good picks, took a few chances. You know, we don't see all that much Furia. The Fernando was an interesting pick, to be sure, and Nara completely overlooked. So maybe a few small things to look at in picks and bans to maybe change for game 2.
Yeah, I think if you go that double flank strategy, again, maybe try to get the Genos for yourself, or maybe pick up the Corvus if it gets by. I know it got banned that time, but they did, I believe, first pick was Buck, and they gave up the Genos to the other side. It could have been another flanker. They could have had that Maeve kind of play that role that the Buck did, play a little bit more defensive, and deny that kind of pokey damage dealer in the Buck that they could have had. Their Maeve does the same job, runs away, have her play a little slower, then you get the Genos. You get that damage boost across the board for your team, and suddenly that double backline comp's looking a little less potent.
Yeah, it's always I mean, I enjoy kind of, not necessarily nitpicking, but looking back at what things may have been able to get changed, you know, in picks and bans from one game off to the other. Maybe it doesn't quite matter here as we'll move on to game number 2. Parallax 1 game in hand after a convincing win in game 1 on Splitstone Quarry, and I believe I read that correctly. Ice Mines is where we'll head for game number 2 here. You know, quite a way to maybe slow things down here if necessary. Keep Parallax on the ropes maybe a little bit longer. Terminus very, very strong on Ice Mines. Great start, I think, ban-wise for Parallax, immediately taking out that Shaolin for Ignite as well. With the Xin, you know, Xin I think is an interesting point where not often in that ban column, but we do often see him over in the pick column. And when we do see Xin, more often than not, he's having a good game. So interesting maybe for Parallax to take him away here on Ice Mines.
Yeah, agreed. I think his guillotine value is huge. It's hard to deal with unless you have a Nando of your own. And even then, if he gets caught off guard with the shield up, he won't be able to immortal in time and save you. So tough to stop Vedzin from doing that. And from just getting away in fights in general, pairs well with the meta supports. I think just good to get rid of him. Two very Ice Mines-minded bans coming out of Parallax. And Ignite kind of targeting Espexi again. We've seen Espexi play a great Dredge. We've seen him play a great Shaolin. We know what Shaolin can do to stop flankers. So maybe Ignite are looking to play a just as flanker-minded game, even on a map that I think lends itself a little bit less to it.
Gotta love seeing that Dredge ban, huh? I know you're the number one. Are you still the number one Dredge proponent?
Stan,
I know there for a while you were.
I do still in like that category. Dredge. Yes, yeah. I still think he's pretty good. I have stopped playing him because I've so I had a sub goal on my stream to make a DPS only account and go up to Masters on it, and my chat kind of collectively said if you only play Dredge on your DPS only account, it doesn't count. So I've been avoiding Dredge to actually play other DPS, and I miss him. I miss him so. Judd Roberts.
Look, Dredge is a blast to watch, and unfortunately here on Ice Mines, at least this time, won't be able to get the chance to see him. So talk about a comeback here now for Inara, completely foregone in game number 1 in favor of some other point tanks, but now being locked in first overall, immediately followed by that Corvus here for Ignite. But I like what Parallax have drafted here, a Victor Bomb King. I mean, you look at space control being the name of the game here on Ice Mines, an Ashe to set up the fight, and then a Victor and a Bomb King to finish it. I think Parallax got to be happy with what they have.
Oh yeah, for sure. Victor is one of the best backlines on this map, able to sustain, has that AoE kind of with the grenade and the ultimate to follow up, so a lot that he can do in the windows area from the enemy team. Also, kind of hard to dive because he just runs away, and Bomb King has that same corner pressure too. You can't chase him because there's a lot of damage coming in. He'll help that Victor be able to sprint away.
Well, Cassie is going to be the answer here. Talus as well. Talus has been kind of in that weird limbo of good or not, prioritized or not, but Ignite Gaming are going to give him a shout here. A lot of times, I guess for Ice Mines, Krez good at closing that gap quickly with that ultimate. If he finds a target that's worthwhile, can kind of immediately get right back into the fight. If he gets, killed off on a push, you can kind of rejoin right back in, depending on how you want to use that ultimate. And then an Atlas to finish off the draft for Ignite. You look towards Ice Mines. Does one kind of give you a little bit more confidence? I kind of look towards the Victor, the Bomb King, the Ashe. I mean, that core 3, I think, gets me excited for Parallax.
Yeah, I agree. I like Parallax's draft, but I also think Ignite have a solid draft for what they have. I think their sustain is kind of through the roof with the Corvus and Aura Atlas. They could really protect their backlines. My biggest concern with Ignite is I think Parallax's draft has like a set identity that Ashe and Bomb King will get aggressive, Nando will live on point, Victor will play windows. Ignite, they have an idea of, Cassie Atlas maybe play window, Inara plays point, Talus alone in Barn against Bomb King. It's a really hard place for him to play, and I think how that Atlas performs with that Talus will kind of set the stage for how Ignite play this map completely.
That's a great point there, Kresnik. I mean, Talus has that ability for that sudden melt damage, but you got to get there first of all. You got to fight your way through this Bomb King, through this Victor. Fernando started to see some value with his sustainability on the point there, of course. But game number 2, Ice Mines is where we'll go. This is a big one for Ignite Gaming. I mean, you don't often see these big 3-game turnarounds once you go down 0-2, especially not up against the dominant team like we've seen here in Parallax. So I wonder where this one maybe hinges. The Espexi playing with Dintic is going to be maybe the biggest one for the Parallax side.
Yeah, I think so. Although I will say, interesting, I want to mention this, that Kranz is running Scorch, and he ran it before, but I feel like Aegis maybe to peel for Espexi could help. But Kranz, I mean, he performed fantastically on this Nando before, but this isn't really a lineup kind of... I'm swinging my mouse around them like the stream can see, though I know they can't. There's not really a ton of lineups that are going to be happening on their team. Maybe you get the off-tank and the flank at the same time, but that's not really going to be enough a lot of the time, I think.
Well, here we go. Ignite Gaming are going to try to fight their way back in after a 4-1 loss on Splitstone Quarry. Parallax, much the opposite here. Deja Vu up to the left-hand side here, so he's going to end up going toe-to-toe with the Ashe a little bit. Dintic takes a small bit of damage. Deja Vu just going to ignore the Ashe here. Tried to find some damage, but has to take the Rune of Travel right back to safety. Parallax building up a small lead, rather just going to match what Ignite Gaming had already built. Deja Vu, ever mobile, makes his way to the right-hand side now. Going to try to counter out some what the Bomb King is doing. So maybe that's what we need to expect from the Talus this game. Left, right, kind of all over the place, depending on where that Rune of Travel allows him to go. 27% for Ignite Gaming, but his first blood down to a Spexy as Deja Vu catches a few too many bombs. Ornstein gonna give himself his second chance. Back to safety he goes, but no cooldowns, no chance. A Spexy with a couple. Parallax Gaming, they found their footing.
I think the way that Parallax are playing against the Temporal Divide is fantastic. They're just letting it run out. That's what you have to do. Atlas puts it up. That's a huge red flag. That's saying we are about to walk in because we have the big 20-second cooldown shield. And you just wait. And that's enough most of the time. Look at this, though. Caught off guard is Mitau for Talus. Got in kind of undetected.
It's good that Kubi's was there. And maybe a Spexy's got a chance. A King Bomb will stun down one. Ignite Gaming have fought their way back in. You cannot lose too many here if you're Parallax and you want a chance to fight back in onto this point. Kronz pops the Immortal off to the side. Ignite Gaming surpass Parallax onto the point. The Immortal finds the value here. Corvit's gonna drop the ult down as well as Spexy with the kill onto Ornstein. But nobody from Parallax gets in range. Ignite Gaming capture point one. It's a sudden double kill from Deja Vu. This cart's gonna get rolling with Parallax on the back foot.
They just stole it away from right in front of them. Look at this Peel ultimate right now from Outlander, but Kubi's is just running them down, and the somersault will keep them alive.
There you go. It's a double kill from the Cassie, and Penny will make 3. Ignite Gaming. I don't know if you call it out of left field, but it was very sudden. Parallax probably felt comfortable with where they were at. The Immortal found some good value. I think the Corvus ult, though, was kind of good at countering out. Maybe Parallax following up on that Immortal, and now already on the back foot. But some of this confirmable damage may be difficult. You're going to be relying on this Cassie to try to outpoke this Victor, especially through a barrage, but instead Deja Vu gets aggressive, gets right in mid-tower space, and Victor down again.
Yeah, they're just not paying enough attention to this Talus, I think, and that's what you have to do. Just keep him on a clock. When you know his Rune of Travel's up, turn, deal with him, and then wait for a little while, because he's not doing too much after that. Just aggression from both lanes is the name of the game for Ignite right now, just running them down. Honestly, if he had a punch right now, Kronz would be already on the floor. They would have this space completely controlled, but use it from ability, and you lose the chance to use it for CC.
Wow, what are we seeing here from Ignite? Down goes Outlander. Penny is going to keep Kronz pinned in the corner for just a little bit longer. So the contest is going to buy time for Parallax to respawn. Dintic gets the kill onto Kubi's. Exile's going to get used this time around from Ignite. It's going to lock one back into the base. So big cooldown now down from Ignite Gaming. Only the one ultimate on the board, but 45 seconds left to defend.
If they had honestly just had Kubi's play a little bit more patient and wait, that Exile was perfect. I mean, it caught Mitau in spawn. The one area of the map you can't really affect is this backline window where Mitau is playing, because he's literally in his spawn. He can be invincible in a moment. And having him out of the fight is something that normally doesn't happen, but right now they're making another attempt. Temporal Divide comes up. 20 seconds now they have to wait, and they're just not going in fast enough to burn through the damage that this Victor's output.
Yeah, Mitau is going to be plenty comfortable right where he's at, up there on the high ground. Penny, uncomfortable, at least with the state of the health bar, but not much else. Mitau there, finds the connections onto Deja Vu. A double kill now onto Ornstein before Kubi's trades back, but you're missing your Atlas. A lot more difficult here. So it looks like Parallax is going to be able to hold on, and they've gotten all their ultimates charged up. Granted, Ignite do as well, minus those Exiles. So relatively even strength going into the next mid-fight.
Yeah, definitely even up here. Exile, Atlas, if they pressure him back, he might not actually have it in time, so maybe Parallax looking to play super aggressive here. Still, though, I mean, Temporal Divide is like an ultimate. It does so much to the map, and if they go into it expecting not to be split, they will be sorely disappointed when the entire team can't really help each other on the side of them. But they have ultimates to just get in and not really care about it. I mean, they have this Assert Dominance, they have the Immortal, they have a ton of follow-up they can potentially get off of that, so maybe they just say, we don't care and run in and make it work that way. Healing charts here, I want to point out, in favor of the Corvus, but that damage boost, that utility, you also don't get to see the life steal that he's also giving, so probably about 100,000. Different reasons to pick these different healers, even though they fill the same role, you want them in pretty different colors.
Good dismounts. Okay, Ignite, though. They've gone for a little bit of extra master riding right off the top. Not a huge advantage just yet. Dintic now with the assert dominance. Expect maybe things to change around. Up, down, but the second chance. Won't find the stun. But some immunity. A nice setback there. So lots of abilities kind of mitigated. But you got to look at the fight on the left-hand side here. And that's where Parallax is finding these big advantages. Ignite Gaming, they just kind of give it up, realizing they need those lives for another chance.
I'm surprised that happened with only 2 ultimates, and now Parallax have the King Bomb and Immortal combo to zone with forward. The true power comes in, but Outlander's so smart, he uses the time and space just to be CC immune, even if they lose mid-tower.
Kubies will grab that kill. Seismic Crash from the sky. It's going to stun down Outlander in the back line. Penny unable to finish off the kill. 90% for Parallax. Now the Exiles back off of cooldown, locked down. Is a Spexy here. It's the Poppy Bomb up and over, and that the setback rather may have actually helped out the BK here. Spexy stays alive and gets some good damage. Mid-tower will get rid of Ornstein. Finally, Ignite Gaming, 69% on the point. Penny still alive, but being shot at from multiple angles here. You're gonna funnel the Sonara off to the side. Kubies back behind Dintic here. No chance for Kubies to escape this one alive. Dintic's gonna move forward. 93% on the point. Deja Vu, dash to the side. Boy, grip up. Outlander gets the kill onto Kubies, and Parallax, they're able to get their first mid-fight of the game.
So unfortunate by Kubies, but it was the respawn for Mid-tower that really turned things around. They killed Mid-tower way earlier. Kubies was in their window. The respawn comes in, they're not paying enough attention. He runs away, just doesn't have the chance to look at Dintic, who's pushing him from behind, and Parallax get this mid-win, even with some ultimates being held onto. Immortal still not being used, and even with the face of Atlas rushing in, they still are willing to hold on to him.
Spexy and Kronz will end up falling down, so realizing that maybe the fight wasn't going to go in their favor nonetheless. Parallax Gaming going to take a moment to breathe, and maybe we can do the same as well. Already made up some decent ground, though, here on this cart before they back themselves away. The cart is going to actually slowly move itself back. Parallax kind of overextend past the cart there, interestingly enough. So now we're going to be right back to maybe another mid-fight here with Parallax fighting back in.
I don't think that Ignite are going to go that far forward there. They want to keep Parallax kind of locked down in those 2 chill points, even if they have to play kind of hidden from this one here to avoid Mid-tower just tearing through their team's health bars. But they could just want them to be completely isolated as opposed to all the options you can take to flank on the mid. Shield actually gets used, though, in kind of a defensive way. It does force the barrage, but actually Ignite willing to use other ultimates too, but no one can follow up at all on Dintic.
That's right, and nobody from Ignite Gaming gonna move their way in just yet. Penny will end up going down. Kubies trying to find the final shot on the mid-tower, but can't quite weave the arrow around the side. Now it's 2 for Parallax. Kubies likely just gonna trade out here, trying to find some damage. The second to last line of defense here for Ignite. This is kind of that awkward spot, though, Krez, where Parallax realize, you know, that they can maybe swing with some of these ultimates, put themselves up 3-1. Ignite Gaming, though, maybe have to play a little bit more reactively. Such an awkward time with only 30 seconds left.
Yeah, I would say Parallax are going to hold on to a little bit of everything here. It's so risky to spend on Ice Mines. But right now, the shield actually being used, I think this is a good chance for Parallax to commit off ultimates. They don't have that shield, 15 seconds left, so that's there. And you can see the pressure coming in over here. They're actually willing to spend the assert dominance, but Dintic gets isolated.
Dintic off to the side, right? I mean, he's isolated with not much behind him. Spexy, though, has gotten rid of Zeeds. A double kill suddenly for the Bomb King. Underneath this first archway, Poppy Bomb aggressively forward. Temporal Divide will slow down this fight, and that's exactly what Ignite Gaming need here. He got stunned down. I think that's the Grumpy Bomb, rather, that locked him in there. Spexy with 3 in this fight, and now Parallax with 3 in the game. What a turnaround there after a slow start to the push.
I'll be honest, I think Ornstein thought the Grumpy Bomb got eaten by the wall. Because when a Grumpy Bomb gets eaten, it doesn't fade away. It just kind of slowly goes till it hits the ground and then disappears. So I think he saw it land, assumed it was eaten, and looked somewhere else and was completely caught off guard when it blew up, unable to use that second chance. 3-7 on this Atlas right now, with Parallax looking strong. Tough, but they have a few ultimates. As many as Parallax, though, with that Immortal King Bomb combo, again, so lethal here on Ice Mines.
Spexy, the journeyman, can do it all. Whether it's direct damage or finding those routes around with that AoE damage. Deja Vu, maybe the man with the true power off to the side. Z sniped down by Outlander. I almost missed it there, but what an opening kill now for Parallax, and look at how Ignite responded. They're already on the back foot, disengaging fully from the rest of the fight.
Yeah, no true power too, so even if they get hard zoned, they have no way to touch behind. An attempt is being made right now with this Exile. I think good to keep the off-tank locked down because it's just making room for Deja Vu, but he just loses the fight to Midtown.
That's right, Midtown forces back this Talus. Barrage down on Ornstein, so second chance used in the third charge, awaiting around the side. Spexy roll the King Bomb around the side. No kill there, but Deja Vu is going to get taken down by Dintic. Kubi's luckily able to find a kill there, but what an Immortal from Franz to slow down this fight from Ignite Gaming. Outlander, Solo, and Zeeds will end up getting the kill, so there is a fight back in from Ignite Gaming. There is a chance to win this point, and it might have come.
Oh my, that moment, the Poppy Bomb getting eaten by the Temporal Divide. So brutal. The only reason the Spexy ends up falling because of that. I don't know if they're going to have a chance to retouch. Kronz actually manages to stay on mount, but gets caught by the Talus right at the last second. If Deja Vu's not there, they have the retouch, but Kronz throws his life away, and Ignite, they stay in the game 3-2.
That's a perfect start for Parallax. You get a snipe onto the healer, and you're not able to lock down that mid, so that's a big one for Ignite. Not only confidence-wise, but just momentum here in this game. Dintic has to use that assert dominance to stay alive. This is always that threat, though. On the back end of the big mid-fight win, you kind of get fully pushed back into your side of the base. So Parallax, at least happy to do that. No game to win for Parallax here. You're going to have to do it on the next mid-fight, but Ignite Gaming could tie it up. Where does this true power end up? On the Midtow, but how many times have we seen this? Deja Vu goes in, and Midtow stays alive.
He got actually gripped during the Blitz upper that was coming right afterwards, so just caught out expecting that second bit of damage to come in. Barrage, as we know, hard counters this second chance. This Temporal Divide coming up, but he wastes the charges with the second chance still waiting, and Deja Vu finally gets the better of Midtown.
Yeah, finally Midtown will go down. Deja Vu is thanking, someone for that one. Penny and Kubi's will add a couple of kills as well. So now you're going to make your way back to the cart if you're Ignite Gaming here after a full-on sweep over to Parallax. You're going to have the through time and space. Minute and 10 seconds left. Definitely a map, Krez, though it is long and difficult to break through, or a minute, plenty of time to get the push.
Oh yeah, for sure. You can keep the snowball rolling if they try to go a little bit too far forward. With all these little choke points, it's kind of easy to become isolated from your team, especially paired with this Atlas Temporal Divide, a cooldown that all it does is split teams in half. They can find a good use for it. They could find an early pick here. But a good split right now, I'd say, from Parallax, and they use it more defensively, so they just use it just to take a little bit of ground. Midtown, maybe overzealous, but they missed the follow-up shot.
Skeen is doing a good job of controlling the high ground here. Dintic has to shoulder bash away. Midtow off to the side. Stays alive again. Oh, and he finds the final shot down around the corner. Goodbye, Deja Vu. This guy is too good. Now you're not going to have your Talus, true power, not ready to go. Otherwise, you might be rejoining the fight right about now. So you're not going to be fully reinforced. So maybe the last 15-10 seconds of the game. See Talus way in the back there. Contested is the payload. Card has inched itself forward nonetheless. So maybe losing this Talus, not the complete end of the world. Penny, half HP though, difficult. Overtime will be on. Ignite Gaming looking to tie. Parallax trying to force us to another mid-fight with only half fast cap on the side of Ignite Gaming. What ultimates get spent? Maybe none. Dintic sniped down by Ornstein. Sometimes that's just the guy. Ignite Gaming able to regain some semblance of control around this push. Penny, 10% HP, up and over goes Kronz. Spexy goes down, but so does Penny here. And they've pinned Kronz into this corner, but Deja Vu, you can't ignore the damage coming in from behind you. And Parallax Gaming able to claw their way back in and stay alive.
I don't know if they didn't have the shield, or I guess I missed it being used earlier, but I'm surprised they didn't use it just to isolate that backline. Even maybe if I'm Ornstein, I spend my Exile just to get Midtow in the back. The Exile, not really the biggest value ultimate coming into this next mid, so just get Mittal out of the fight. He's been doing so much for the team. I mean, look at these damage charts, 142,000. I know that Kubi's is doing well behind him, but that is a big gap, I would say, between them. So just get him out of the fight. Don't let him really follow up. And then maybe you can kill Kron's just that much easier.
Well, look at what we've seen out of Dintic as well. Higher damage than what Deja Vu's been able to do. So big there from him. Ignite obviously thanking Corvus for some of the longevity in this game. About 70,000 healing higher than Outlander on the other side. Remember the last mid-fight started off with a through time and space snipe down. Here's the true power. Who does he go for? Mittal. Oh, perfect from Outlander. Goodbye, Deja Vu. No chance you kill off Mittal this time around. It's 2 kills, make it 3 for Parallax Gaming. As Ignite Gaming lose their main members, they're gonna have to work their way back into this one, and they don't have great ultimates to do it.
Well, Dave, listen, we always talk about the Talus Genos combo, right?
Yeah, we do.
I guess it works, right? No matter what team they're on, it always tends to work. Someone is gonna get picked off. Franz right now. They have this combo. Look at this King Bomb Immortal. I don't know if Ignite can make it to the point.
Mittal kills off Kubi's here, 90% on the point for Parallax Gaming. Ornskeen knocked up 99% and not in range. The tick just out of time for both of the tanks of Ignite. And Parallax Gaming locked down the mid and a 2-0 lead in the set.
I can't believe they almost made it back. Maybe the
close.
Exile has to be used as second earlier, but I mean, he basically didn't stop moving the whole time, so I don't even know if there's a way for them to turn it around. I think great play at the very end there by Parallax. King Bomb and Immortal locks everyone down in main. No one can really follow up, assert dominance, I believe, in the window to stop pressure from that side. Even the one unwatched area, Outlander's got the Void Grip to force the Exile. Slows everyone down, they just can't make it back.
That's good from Ignite, though, to kind of stay mentally in that set, especially when one mid-fight prior, it looked like Parallax were just going to run away with it. The opening snipe from Outlander now in back-to-back mid-fights sets up the rest of the team for success. You can't always count on that, but maybe you can with Outlander on your side. Let's see where Mittal ended up. 153,000 damage, 30k higher than the next highest in the game. Turns out Victor left unchecked, though Deja Vu was trying. Victor's going to have a good time if you get the peel that Mittal was.
Yeah, I mean, Victor is just going to do a ton of damage. This is a great map for him. It even was in the PPL before his kind of changes and rise to prominence really came. He had him come into his own.
Right.
He did get kind of close with the Cassie, though. Kubi's 30k behind, a character that I think should have had a tougher time, especially shooting into 2 shield tanks as opposed to no shield tanks on the side of Ignite. So I think good play from him, 100,000 damage being mitigated on the way. And still kind of keeping it close. And I think he was a key part in it. I can look at the KDAs to see how many kills he managed to finish off. 10 and 7, so protecting his life, finishing off the kills, and actually, hey, record 3. He was just burning those shields down and still managed to keep it close.
That's right. And one big note that I kind of had on the stat screen was Zeeds just outpoured so much healing that game. I mean, he was 60, 70k by the end of it, higher than Outlander, but Parallax just won a lot of those fights so quickly that Ignite didn't necessarily have the chance to get themselves back into it. You know, the 13, 7, and 10, I think, tells a pretty normal story, I guess, for what we'd expect here from Mittal. 6, 7 deaths basically across the board from Parallax, and they kind of died as a team, I guess. You look at it there was like all the fights where Parallax just kind of losing handily, Ignite Gaming out ahead. There weren't many individual picks necessarily across the board. So I loved what I saw out of Parallax there. They drafted so well, I think, for Ice Mines, Kresnik. They built a good draft that worked. Ignite Gaming, I don't know. I think that's one where you kind of look back, you say we were able to fight our way into it, keep ourselves relevant into that mid-game point that we gave ourselves a chance to tie, but ultimately we were out-dueled. So now it's on to game 3. Let's see if Parallax are able to continue their dominance here in Brazil and go up 4-0, 12 in the plus-minus column there. It's Ignite Gaming will be in this first pick slot.
Yeah, and Ignite, losers pick now. They will choose Frog Isle to be their map.
Frog Isle, all right.
Can be pretty snowbally if they wanted to stop the momentum on Ignite. They better do it round 1. Because if Parallax continue with how strong that final mid-fight was, I don't know what Ignite can do to actually slow them down. It's a map, though, where they can win or lose in the draft. I think. So this is going to be really important for how the rest of the game goes. But their first ban looks like it'll remain the same. Shaolin gotten rid of on this map, especially with the recent change to him, with him losing jumping inaccuracy. It wasn't mentioned in the patch notes, but it was kind of a blanket fix to get rid of. He has an occasional thing where, this is really weird, but sometimes the server just thinks he's jumping, so it just made his arrows go in random directions. They fixed that.
That's no fun. Yeah, right, good.
But now he has no jumping inaccuracy, so for maps like Frog Isle, he's a lot better when you can just do those jump shots over the wall with 100% accuracy.
That's right, up there from that high ground, you can weave shots right in on through. Atlas going to take a seat right after Shaolin here. Not surprising for Frog Isle, that temporal divide, great at dividing this map, especially when you kind of have those sniper windows. One team sniper suddenly can just stand out and try to pop some shots down, farm up some damage. Corvus now going to get banned out. And there's the Strix ban for Parallax. I wonder how the sniper priority would end up falling here in picks and bans. Parallax going to take that Strix away. Canessa left open. You wonder, Krez, if now that long-range confirmable damage, though still available with a Victor, still available with the Leon, maybe Canessa now prioritized a little bit higher.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they just didn't want to play into the Ashe Andro. If Ignite first picks the Nessa, suddenly they're getting run at by that. But there's ways to stop that. Even with Atlas gone, I think you can play Khan on this danger side, and Khan will take some chip damage from the Andro, but he at least slows down this Ashe pressure. Ignite think that they can run Ashe and maybe another flanker to cross that distance, but if Parallax have a Khan or something in their way, they can't make that happen. They're not going to be able to burst through and actually get onto this Canessa, and a free fire Canessa on Frog Isle just wins the game.
Difficult. Now it's important to see where Ignite are going to answer back, whether that is through trying to kind of out-duel from range, though very difficult to do with no Strix on the board. Leon will have the ability to kind of outpoke, especially with a Genos on that side. But you wonder if maybe some dive now starts to get drafted for Ignite. You absolutely have it with the Ashe. You get aggressive, move forward. The Assert Dominance kind of conditional dive there to jump immediately on top of the Canessa. But talk about staying power now, Kresnik. You're going to have an Androxus flanking around, Canessa setting up shots, but then an Inara Barrack that you have to burn through if you're Ignite.
Yeah, and I actually love this draft in particular just because this is like 2018 Envy. That's what this is. Remember Rubu on Barrack just playing on danger with Hulky Inara on point. Parallax are kind of just taking that and using it how they want. Now, instead of that Khan holding in that danger side, just plop Barrack in the way. How are they going to push through him? Not? Or the Inara, Mother's Grace in the way. If Ashe tries to use that CC immunity to get through, she's just going to be completely unable to.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, Leon is absolutely there to do some good damage. Ashe can spread some out with the Luminary mark as well. But you need something, I think, with big damage numbers here if Parallax are going to be moved off the point at all. Still healers being looked at for Parallax as well. Lots of good sustains still left on the board. You know, Damba's been kind of a popular pick for some of that good splash, high sustain healing. Corvus, of course, being banned out changes that around a little bit. Fernando locked in for point tank here. And now Victor, and that's exactly what I wanted. So now you get Genos marking up a Leon, marking up a Victor. If there's one way to get rid of an Inara Barrack, that's definitely the way to do it.
Yeah, with that raw damage output, especially, again, pairing that Leon with the Genos, I think is perfect with those auto-canceled abilities that get the damage boost. But it's a lot of bulk to go through, and Parallax right now, they're going to need to draft a support that can have that sustained power. I'm thinking maybe Damba. That would actually be perfect to deal with the Ashe dive as well, with the fear, with the stuns, all that stuff kind of combined together. But Ying will be the last pick for Parallax, a character that I think has been picked a little bit more in Brazil and is actually undervalued across the board. She still has great healing, a great ultimate. I guess, okay, she leaves your comp open to Grok, but who's playing Grok right now, Dave? No one's playing Grok.
No one. Sadly, no one's playing Grok. But Parallax round out their draft with this Ying. That Illusory Rift, you know, kind of the defensive version of that Furia ult. It keeps you in the fight all of a sudden when things can kind of be pushing back against you here. So a Canessa Andro to kind of pour out that damage for Parallax, and then an Inara and a Barrack to absorb everything that Ignite are going to be throwing out. I mean, we've touted, I think, this Parallax draft, and for good reasons. Do you think, though, that Ignite on the other side have drafted themselves something that can work into what Parallax are bringing to game 2.
I think it depends on the use of the ultimates from the Nando Ashe. I think we've seen some comps like this work before with this kind of aggressive double off tank, but what we usually see instead is Makoa. I think maybe Koa could have been a great filler here. Catch Inara between her damage reductions, catch Barrick between his shields, and also have that Ancient Rage should just go flying into the back line and kind of being hard to punish. We do have the game ready, so we'll slide into that. I'll make sure I get you your audio as well, but having the...
No, take it off. I could do it silent.
having the double ult ability to dive the backline would have been great. They get the Nando instead, still can function, just I think a little bit tougher to make work consistently because Nando just has a little bit less mobility.
That's right. It is going to be Aegis this time around, or Aegis.
Double shields.
Depending how you want to pronounce that one. Yep, double shields there. For the challenger side here, Ignite Gaming. No Wrecker, though, for Parallax. So a lot to burn through with not a lot of Wrecker just yet. Spexy, imagine playing a lot of his time around this window side. Got to plug down a little bit of damage here. Always love seeing the new Frog Eye. Looks so good here nowadays. And
oh yeah.
Parallax, excuse me, making use of some of that early health. Dintic, though, can't stay alive. Deja Vu will find the kill. Oh, but the snipe down sets up MidTown perfectly for the kill. And look at this backline dive. Could be 3-1 final shot. And MidTown into the backline he goes, and into the grave go Ignite.
What a perfect play by him, just playing on the edge of that frog statue. Literally no one knows he's there. Leon just moonwalks into him practically, and MidTown cleans up a fourth as well.
Wow, that's
effective
point.
Quad for this. Yeah, they have point cap the whole time. What else is going to happen when you have Inara and Barrick? One of them is going to be capping the point. Even if it was Barrick that time, they still managed to keep up their aggression. With a point tank in both lanes, how do you break through this?
Yeah, you know, it's warm all year round in Frog Isle, but the snowball still forms. But this is one where Ignite, despite being 2 minutes into this game, already need to be somewhat nervous that Parallax have already gotten themselves forcing Ignite to decide between stepping out or staying safe back into their base. The answer for now is keep Kubi safe. Into the back he goes. A little bit of a 4-member group off to the left-hand side here. Kronz senses that one out. Spexy, though, wins the long-range engagement over Kubi's as Kinessa's been unchallenged so far. Oh, and the snapshot there. It's a soft double for Spexy and sets up a third as Kronz will pick up the kill onto Ornski and Prez. And I don't want to call this one too soon. Seems like we're rolling our way to the 2-0.
I think we are today. I mean, as soon as I cut to Kubi's POV and I saw him before the cart was around the first corner, sitting, I'm going to even free cam to show you this, sitting all the way back where he is now with the cart all the way back here.
Right.
You know something's going wrong at that point. They just have no way to contest him. At that range, he's so far away. Kubi's, as soon as he peeks out to maybe do a little damage, he kills, what, a Ying clone? And then gets chunked for half his HP. If that's all your Victor's doing, you have to find something else out. They just have no way to get through. Even with their off tanks, if they can break through it and find some space with one of these ultimates, the follow-up is going to be so distant with this Victor and this Leon comp.
Poor Dintic, the one and only death for Parallax. Up to this point,
you know they're riffing on him for that too.
Oh, you have to, right? I mean,
absolutely.
you're not a good friend or teammate if you're not ripping on your boy for being the only one who's died up to this point. And I think anything less is an injustice. So we'll see if Dintic continues his feeding ways here, but he's going to stay aggressive nonetheless. It's going to be a seismic crash down, counters out the shoulder bash there. And he will turn the script a little bit as Dintic finds the opening kill here. A snipe, though, from Deeds is going to get a Spexy out of that backline. Look at the wall, forces out the immortal. MidTown dashes away. No enlightenment kill this time around. It's chaos on the right-hand side of the map. Everyone jumping in, but MidTown finds the opening kill. That's Deja Vu off to the side. A cursed arm gunned down by Kubi's, but Kronz will make use of some of that damage and get the return kill. Down goes Penny as well, and literally the same story. Parallax has been capping this entire time.
And Kronz just ran it down mid and caught them from behind, not expecting that follow-up bit of aggression. Able to walk forward with the, but again, both point tanks still staying alive. Besides, Aspexy completely free here, but the turret, it's blocking his line of sight of the Genos, and he loses him thanks to Kronz. I'm sure he's yelling at him for that right now, but he maintains his position with a dome shield coming up in front.
I don't know, man. We are maybe looking at the 4-0 that turns into a 3-0 set win here in just a second. Ignite swept again. And now, already, one last chance. We are 5 minutes into this game, counting inter-round time. Parallax Gaming on the doorstep of the 3-0 set win here. Seismic Crash will connect here. Down goes Ornstein. Running away. Goes one. It's a double kill suddenly for Midtown. No more front line for Ignite Gaming. Parallax inching themselves in. Parallax rolling this cart home. And it looks like today they will stay flawless. They will get the 3-0. And they will stay 12 plus minus map differential. Blemishless so far as Parallax over in Brazil.
That was just brutal. I mean, I literally don't. There's no other follow up to that. That was just brutal. Ornstein didn't ult. Your Ashe didn't ult on Frog Isle. Every single ultimate attempt was countered, was CC'd. 2 in a row, Seismic crashed because Dintic is charging them that quickly. You can't say anything else. When you can't even get that ultimate off from full HP to done.
No.
Just no hope. And Ignite looked so good coming into this too, but Parallax have again firmly established themselves. Even they haven't run the full gambit yet, but they are still looking like a dominant force in Brazil.
Right. I mean, the team that was going to unseat them was Ignite.
This team
was not much of a fight here today, and it's really what we saw in Phase 1, where it's Parallax punching down on everyone else, and then Ignite maybe everyone beneath them, and just kind of goes down, sort of cascading downward that way, but definitely does not change here today with Parallax out ahead. As short as this game was, still some big damage numbers across the board. I'm going to quickly scan. Only Outlander below anyone on Ignite. So everyone from Parallax, and shouldn't be that surprising, but tanks included, did more damage than everyone on Ignite. I mean, pretty lopsided matchup through and through here in this one.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's not much to really glean from the stats here other than Parallax.
Yeah, break it down, Krez. Tell me.
Really, these stats really tell you the real story.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can look at the other ones. I mean, maybe there's something cool in the loadouts. Nope. Absolutely not. It was just pretty standard across the board, and that kind of shows even playing the normal things and taking it in a could be even fight draft-wise. I think mismatching backlines really hurt Ignite. No way to match up against a Spexy playing this sniper in the back. It's just a hard outplay, I think, by Parallax onto Ignite. Maybe they grab Kinessa first. Maybe the aggressive play can't work out for Ignite. Or maybe Ignite just gets a flanker and they can make it work a little better. Do they have an EV player? We've seen Ornstein play it before. Maybe the triple DPS was how they beat this Kinessa.
Yeah, I mean, Paladins is such a fun game, I think, to watch because there are very intricate moments. There's matchups, there's outplays, things like that you can look at that explain why a game went one way or another. But sometimes you just get outgunned, and
they really do be like
Ignite
that.
just kind of got outgunned this time around, and this one was not really all that close, at least on Frog Island. I think that's just a tough way to end. I mean, you went toe-to-toe throughout the first couple of games in this set with Parallax. None of them went all 7 points, but you at least hung in there. So it's definitely difficult, I think, to kind of slow things down here towards the end.
Yeah, I think it was just hard to stop the snowball from them as it happened. They couldn't really fight it, and Parallax will continue to establish themselves up top. We'll show the standings tomorrow once all the games have been played. Just to say, make sure you guys watch that game if you want to see all of Brazil being done. We won't have that quite yet, but Brazil done for now with Prolific versus Flashpoint in NA coming up next. Both NA games will be today. Don't miss it. We'll see you after this.